Neil here with Icon Vehicle Dynamics. I'm here with Scott, and we are going to talk about ball joints, but we're not going to talk about just any ball joint. We're going to talk about a patented delta joint that Icon has spent time engineering and perfecting in their A-arms. Scott, tell us a little bit about how this came about and the applications that it works in.
Sure. So for years and years prior to developing the delta joint, we used what's called in the industry a uniball as the ball joint. It's basically just a spherical bearing that presses into the arm, and the reason we used it is because of the high angle that it's able to cycle. This one's nice and new and tight, so it's hard to do, but they cycle much more than your traditional ball joint would. So we're able to basically squeeze more travel out of the front suspension of these trucks using these. Kind of the downside is that they were never intended for this application. A spherical bearing like this, primarily is an industrial part. It lives in some sort of box, and it's separated from the elements so it doesn't get dirty. Because they're not sealed to that dirt and debris, they tend to wear at a much more rapid rate than, say, a regular ball joint would.
Sure.
And they're kind of infamous for squeaks and pops and stuff like that. So we were trying to find something that would be better for a daily driven vehicle. If it's a race car or something, who cares? It's not a big deal. But
don't hear it.
Yeah.
There you
go.
So
the delta joint was designed with the same purpose in mind, same angularity possible as the uniball, and it's completely retrofittable. The outer housings of the actual unit here are the same external dimensions as uniball. So you press that guy out, you press this in. They all have an application-specific taper pin on the bottom that basically sets it up for that vehicle, and you're good to go. During our testing of these guys, we actually neglected them. We didn't grease them. We actually ran it with no seal in it for an extended period of time. We call it the
R&D.
Yeah,
that's what you do, because that's what's going to happen when it gets into somebody else's rig.
Exactly.
No doubt.
We try to break it in every way we can think of.
That's what you do.
And so during our testing, we ran a non-greased, non-sealed delta joint on one side of the truck, and then a uniball on the other, and we call it the Icon 1K. We do 1,000 miles of off-road testing for pretty much every product that we come out with, and it basically just involves laps from here to Laughlin and back. About 4 or 5 trips and 1,000 miles. After that 1,000 miles of testing was done, the Delta was still good to go. And it's been completely neglected as far as what we would.
Been oiled.
Nothing.
Just neglected, dry, run it hard, see how it goes.
Exactly.
Perfect.
It was still good. However, the uniball on the other side of the truck at that point in time, in the same conditions, had already developed slop and needed replacement. So even in a worst case scenario, the Deltas will out-survive a uniball in pretty much all the conditions, especially if you are staying on top of the maintenance and greasing it every 5,000 miles like we typically recommend. So that's done really well for us, but on some of the other applications that have come out recently, like the Bronco was actually really the one that initiated it.
Right there.
We developed the Delta Joint Pro, and that was because we needed more angle than what these were able to cycle, which is kind of a unique problem for us because already we had something that gave you more angle than really anything else on the market. So we took the same concept, blew it up bigger. So now we have the Delta Joint Pro, same overall kind of look about her, but much larger diameter ball, as you can tell. This will cycle a full 90 degrees of articulation, where these are just, I forget the exact angle, but just shy of that. And in addition to being greasable in the same manner that the Deltas are, the Pros can be completely rebuilt by hand. You just wear something out, you take her apart, and you can replace every component within the ball joint independently, and this can all be done while this is still pressed in your arm. So the actual changing of the unit itself is a lot more, or I should say a lot less labor intensive than pressing out a whole ball joint and pressing in a new one. You could do it yourself, with the parts still hanging on the truck, essentially.
It comes with a 5,000-mile warranty?
5-year warranty.
5-year warranty.
5 year, much more than 5,000 miles unless you don't drive very much.
Yes, you don't drive very much. Good call on that. Good call on that.
And comparatively speaking, we expect these to last even longer because we've upgraded some of the parts compared to the regular Deltas, and like the wiper seal on the bottom uses on the regular Delta joint is a polyurethane seal, much like what we use on the shock shaft. But the Pro takes this up to a brass scraper. So now you have a metal part to wear instead of a rubber part, essentially. And all this can be changed with, say, if you wear out a scraper, cool, pop it apart, drop in your new scraper, and you're back in business. And the ball itself, if you see, the improvement over the regular Delta is the grease channels on the bottom. On the Delta joint, they kind of look like a baseball.
Yeah.
The laces on a baseball. But on the Pro, we actually redesigned them to keep them up inside so they're not exposed. So
I wondered if the oil was coming out in that groove.
It's meant to flush it out through the groove, but
Okay.
By keeping the grooves up inside of
Yeah.
the Pro, you're less of a chance for debris contamination.
Yep, makes sense.
So improvements on an already tried and true product, and this is something. The Pros will be available for multiple applications moving forward, and we already have the Deltas available for all of our upper control arm applications, and we also offer them in different sizes that are size for our competitors' control arms. So if you don't have an Icon arm and you want to take advantage of this, as much as we'd love you to go buy an Icon arm, there's no real need to. You can keep your same arm, buy a few $100 set of Delta joints and have the same end result without
Quality
buying a
company
new parts.
right there. There you go. Good. All right. What you've seen is some really interesting information on what normally might not be an exciting tale, right?
Ball joints are not very sexy.
Well, you just made them better than that. Hey, we're here with Icon, and if you want more information, go to Icon, www.icon Vehicle Dynamics. There's a phone number there. Give us a call if you have any more information. Go to that website and look for those Delta Pro joints. Thanks again. Talk to you soon.